Yo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jam Vishnu Pad Padamamsa Parvajikacharya Astota Satyashimad. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jam Vishnu Pad Padamamsa Parvajikacharya Astota Satyashimad. Shringa Guru Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. ISKCON VBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Premsiko Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shyamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Gangamaya Jamunamaya Ki Jai. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Their Divine Lordship Shri Shri Rukmini Dwarkadish Ki Jai. Their Divine Lordship Shri Shri Jagannath Baldev Srimati Subhadra Ki Jai. Their Divine Lordship Shri Shri Gaurnitai Ki Jai. Gaur Premananda Hari Haribol. All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories Shri Shri Guru Shri Gauranga. Guru Shri Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the third canto, chapter 24. We're going to be reading from text 21 through 26. 26 is the only one with the purport. And today's topic will talk a little bit about Triyugam, which actually refers to Vishnu and other definitions. So I'll read the first verses, and then we'll chant together text number 26. Gate sata dritokshata kardamam stena ko choditaha yatoditam svaduitri pradad vishvasrijam tata. O Vidura, after the departure of Brahmā, Kardama Muni, having been ordered by Brahmā, handed over his 9 daughters as instructed to the 9 great sages who created the population of the world. Text 22 to 23. Marīci kalam pradad Anasūyām atatraye Śraddhā Aṅgirā se yachat Pulastya Havirbhūvam Pulahaya gatim yuktam Kratave cha Kriyām satim Khyātim cha bhagave yachad Vasiṣṭhayapi Arundhatīm. Kardama Muni handed over his daughter Kalā to Marīci, and another daughter, Anasūyā, to Atri. He delivered Śraddhā to Aṅgirā, and Havirbhū to Pulastya. He delivered Gati to Pulaha, the chaste Kriyā to Kratu, Khyāti to Bhṛgu, and Arundhatī to Vasiṣṭha. Text 24. Atharvane dadachantim yaya yagno vitanyate viprarsaban kritodvahan sadaran samalayat. He delivered Śānti to Atharvā. Because of Śānti, sacrificial ceremonies are well performed. Thus he got the foremost brāhmaṇas married, and he maintained them along with their wives. Text 25. Tatastha rishaya ksataha krita dada nimantratam partistanandim apanai swam swam ashrama mandalam. Thus married, the sages took leave of Kardama and departed full of joy, each for his own hermitage, O Vidura. Okay, today's verse. Sachavatirnam triyugam Agyaya vibudharshabam Vivikta upasangamya Pranamya samabhasata Sachavitirnam triyugam Agyaya vibudharshabam Vivikta upasangamya Pranamya samabhasata Sachavatirnam triyogam Agnaya vibudharshabam Vivikta upasangamya Pranamya samabhasata. Chavitam triyugam Agaya vibudharshabam Vikta upasangamya Bantam sambhasata. Vaishnavis. Sachavatirnam triyugam Agaya vibudharshabam Vivikta upasangamya Sa, the sage Kardama. Cha, and. Avatirnam, descended. Triyugam, Vishnu. Agyaya, having understood. Vibudha, Vrishabham, the chief of the demigods. Vivikte, in a secluded place. Upasangamya, having approached. Pranamya, offering obeisances. Samabhasata, he spoke. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. When Kardama Muni understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the chief of all the demigods, Vishnu, had descended, Kardama approached him in a secluded place, offering obeisances, and spoke as follows. Purport. Lord Vishnu is called Triyuga. He appears in 3 yugas, Satya, Treta, and Dwapara. But in Kali Yuga, he does not appear. From the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj, however, we understand that he appears garbed as a devotee in Kali Yuga. Lord Chaitanya is that devotee. Krishna appeared in the form of a devotee, But although he never disclosed himself, Rupa Goswami could understand his identity, for the Lord cannot hide himself from a pure devotee. Rupa Goswami detected him when he offered his first obeisances to Lord Chaitanya. He knew that Lord Chaitanya was Krishna himself, and therefore offered his obeisances with the following words: I offer my respects to Krishna, who has now appeared as Lord Chaitanya. This is confirmed in the prayers of Prahlāda Maharaj. In Kali Yuga, he does not directly appear, but he appears as a devotee, Vishnu. Therefore, he is known as Tri Yuga. Another explanation of Tri Yuga is that he has three pairs of divine attributes, namely power and affluence, piety and renown, and wisdom and dispassion. According to Sridhar Swami, his three pairs of opulences are complete riches and complete strength, complete fame, and complete beauty, and complete wisdom, and complete renunciation. 6 opulences of Krishna. There are different interpretations of Tri Yuga, but it is accepted by all learned scholars that Tri Yuga means Vishnu. When Kardama Muni understood that his son Kapila was Vishnu himself, he wanted to offer his obeisances. Therefore, when Kapila was alone, he offered his respects and expressed his mind as follows. So that goes into the prayers of Kardama Muni, and then we'll hear how Kardama Muni responds. So, Om Jnana Tamarandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksusun Malitamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manubhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Upakadamayam Didati Swapadantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchakalpa Tubhishta Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Okay, let's read the verse one more time. Or do you want to read all the verses or just this one? Just do this one. Okay, so when Kardama Muni understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the chief of all the demigods, Vishnu, had descended, Kardama approached him in a secluded place, offered obeisances, and spoke as follows. So here we are in this section. This is a little graph to show you about where we are. We're in this chapter, the renunciation of Kardama Muni. And so we were reading from 21 to 26. So this is the 20 to 25. We see the departure of Brahmā and the marriage of the 9 daughters. And then if we go down to 26 to 34, this is when Kardama Muni offers his prayers. So as we could see here, this is where Brahmā, he returned with Narada and the Kumaras. So we just heard those verses. And then he married off his daughters to all the sages there. And then here we see how it describes. Can you see that clear? I should probably make them clear. Your appearance is our home, in our home is your causeless mercy. So these are the prayers. And then it talks about the glorious forms, his qualities, and then he requests permission to leave and renounce the world. So this is the Kardama Muni's renunciation. So we see he just gave his daughters in marriage to all these great sages, and we understand how it's important to find suitable partners for our children. You see, you should marry them to spiritually advanced individuals because the priority is spiritual growth. So we should seek the balance between our worldly responsibilities and our spiritual responsibilities. So that's what we could take from that. And then Kardama Muni taking sannyas to focus on his spiritual life we learned about the 4 different stages in Vedic culture, how we should try to advance, to all the way to renunciation if possible, at least in our consciousness. So this is the most important point, is that spiritual advancement. So we should encourage our children to find partners who support their spiritual and personal development. And then we see here that Lord Kapila, he seeks permission for renunciation. And we should see from that the importance of seeking guidance from spiritual authorities on what to do. So that demonstrates humility and respect for the divine order of things. So that's what we should do. We cultivate that spirit of detachment and renunciation, even in the context of our spiritual life. So and then the appearance of Lord Kapila, we see that he's an incarnation of Vishnu. This is described in that verse as Triyuga. And we understand the purpose for his presence, for his appearance. Prabhupada describes all throughout his literatures, he comes to help us go back to him, to remind us. So we see his role in preserving and protecting Dharma. So we should recognize the divine presence in the lives of spiritually advanced individuals, because Krishna is everywhere, especially amongst his devotees. And we could receive insight from them. So it's amazing how he was born from Kardama Muni and Devahuti. It's a very unique circumstance of his birth. Krishna can appear anywhere, anytime, any way he chooses, because he's the Supreme Person. In fact, he's already everywhere. So he could just manifest it however he wants. Just like fire is manifested from wood, or Nrsimhadev appeared from a pillar, or, Varahadev appeared from a nostril, like that. So it's very interesting. So we should understand how he comes. So we should appreciate the role of, Krishna coming and his sincere seekers. So I guess, we'll move on from here. So this is the image that shows when Lord Brahmā comes down with Narada Muni and the 4 Kumaras on his swan vehicle. And you can see there there's Kardama Muni and Devahuti, the sages are there, his daughters are there. So Brahmā actually praised the 9 daughters as very chaste, and he hopes that they'll expand the creation through their descendants. And then Brahmā advised Kardama Muni to give his daughters to those 9 sages, matching their temperaments and likings. And we learned a little bit about psychology and how to be happy in married life, and how men and women should unite based on character and taste compatibility, not just sexual attraction. So this mismatched unions, they actually lead to unhappiness. And in Kali Yuga, Prabhupada explains how union just happens based on sex appeal, and that's it, just like cats and dogs. So children aren't born properly, and beings are devoid of spiritual knowledge. So it's a world full of varna sankara. So actually true marriage involves enlightening the couple spiritually to produce spiritually oriented children. And so this is a very scientific consideration, to properly match couples, to train them properly. So this is very important. So here, meet the 9 daughters. It's described, they're very charming in every limb, fragrant like red lotus flowers. So this is the gift that Kardama Muni gave. Wonderful children, Krishna conscious children, beautiful children, real personalities. What better gift can you give to society? And this is the breakdown of the Kardama Muni's 9 daughters and who he gave them to. Kalā was given to the sage Marīci, Anasūyā to Atri, Śraddhā to Aṅgirā, Havirbhū to Pulastya, Gati to Pulaha, Kriyā, Kratu, Khyāti to Bhṛgu, Arundhatī, Vasiṣṭha, Śānti to Atharvā. So that's the list there. So these are our ancestors. Who knows what where we came from, which particular. But we all know we came from Lord Brahmā, which came from Vishnu. We're with the, what is the dynasty? The Krishna dynasty? Like that. So here again we see Kardama Muni understood that his son was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he came and offered his obeisances. And see, when he was alone, he expressed his mind. And we see that Kardama Muni has such a spiritual insight and advancement. And this is what we need to do, is develop a personal relationship with the divine. And how do we do that? Through heartfelt prayer and devotion. And then here he is seeking permission for sannyas. So he's demonstrating his respect for authority, and he's seeking the Lord's blessings in his spiritual endeavors. So this is we should seek guidance and blessings from spiritual authorities, especially when we're making important life decisions. So then Lord Kapila assured him, he said, you'll definitely get liberation through your devotion, and you'll achieve self-realization. And this is how the Lord reciprocates with his devotees. So we have to have this trust in the power of devotional service, to grant us liberation and self-realization. So I like the verse in this particular chapter. It's actually all the way to verse 47. It says, freed from all hatred and desire, Kardama Muni, being equal to everyone because of discharging uncontaminated devotional service, ultimately attained the path back to Godhead. That's nice, huh? So we see, talking about Triyuga, Prabhupada referred to this verse of Prahlad Maharaj in the 7th canto. It's the 9th chapter, text 38. And this is the verse. Idamnri Triyak Rishideva Jahasavartarer Lokan Vibhavayasi Hamsi Jagat Pratipan Dharmam Mahapurusha Pasi Yuganu Ritam Chanakalu Yad Abhavastri Yugo Tasatvam. This is when Prahlad Maharaj is pacifying Lord Nrsingadev with his prayers. It's a beautiful verse. And this is the translation here. In this way, my Lord, you appear in various incarnations as a human being, an animal, a great saint, a demigod, a fish, or a tortoise, thus maintaining the entire creation in different planetary systems and killing the demoniac principles. According to the age, O my Lord, you protect the principles of religion. In the age of Kali, however, you do not assert yourself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore you are known as Triyuga, or the Lord who appears in 3 yugas. So it's a very nice purport to that particular verse. I don't know if I want to read the whole thing, but there's one part here I'd like to read. So he says, as the Lord appeared just to maintain Lord Brahmā from the attack of Madhu and Kaitaba, he also appeared to protect the great devotee Prahlad Maharaj. Similarly, Lord Chaitanya appeared in order to protect the fallen souls of Kali Yuga. So this is how he appeared. So he appears in all different ages, but in Kali Yuga he comes as Lord Chaitanya. And he never asserted himself as God. But as we know, devotees recognized him. So Prabhupada quotes this nice verse of the Krishna Varnam, Tvisak Krishnam, that in Kali Yuga, intelligent men worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is always accompanied by his associates, such as Nityananda, Advaita, Gadadhar, and Srivas. So Prabhupada says here, the entire Krishna consciousness movement is based on the principles of the Sankirtan movement, inaugurated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I heard a class by a devotee. He said that what is our tapasya in Krishna consciousness is only 2 things. Is Sankirtan, preaching, and the second thing is to cooperate with the devotees. That's our austerities. That's what he thought. But it makes sense. So he said here, therefore, one who tries to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the medium of the Sankirtan movement knows everything perfectly. He is Sumedas, a person with substantial intelligence. So that's nice. So this, in regard to Tri Yuga, let me see if I can move this, if it's going to go out of the way. No, I'm sorry, I'll go back. I should have had this one disappear so you can see the picture better. But going here, it's Tri Yuga. It's actually just, as Lord Chaitanya is considered an incarnation of Krishna appearing in Kali Yuga. So it has a different related meanings. And so they describes here, the three yugas, Satya, Treta, and Dwapara. But the Lord appears in Kali Yuga as the Chana avatar, and it's Tri Yuga. And it could also mean the Lord manifests 3 couples of his 6 opulences. That was in the purport, in his incarnation as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And what are those 6 opulences? 1? What? All of them, yeah. Jnana, Shakti, Aisvarya, Virya, Sri, and Vairagya. So there's 3 couples. They represent the unique combination or the emphasis of these opulences, of his appearance and his activities. So this is how you define the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by 6 opulences. So another interpretation is that in 3 yugas, the Lord protects religious principles through austerity, cleanliness, and mercy. However, in Kali Yuga, Lord Chaitanya spreads these qualities despite their general absence in this age. So it's interesting. So the 3 transcendental qualifications mentioned is what? Cleanliness, austerity, and mercy. So these are considered to be the qualities of the twice born. And this is one situated in the mode of goodness. So I wonder why, anybody know? Question for you. He doesn't mention the 4th one, truthfulness. So we know, right, we follow the cleanliness by, how do we maintain cleanliness? Yes, and austerity, and mercy, and truthfulness. But why do you think it's missed from this particular purport that Srila Prabhupada's talking about? He only mentions 3 in Kali Yuga, and Lord Chaitanya brings these 3. Anybody have any ideas? I was wondering myself. So, anyway, it seems that it's basically talking about countering the influence of the modes of passion and ignorance prevalent in Kali Yuga. So cleanliness, austerity, and mercy are particularly emphasized because they address the common issues of this age: uncleanliness, indulgence, and cruelty. So truthfulness, I guess, is the last leg, which is gradually going out. Anyway, so nevertheless, truthfulness is very important in our Krishna consciousness movement. So basically, Tri Yuga signifies that Lord Chaitanya is very unique. He's concealed incarnation of Krishna, and he appears in this age of Kali to spread the Sankirtan movement and to protect religious principles, while not directly asserting his divine supremacy. So this is nice described. So let's move on. So these are the verses again. He occurs as a saint, like that. Okay, so here, Srila Prabhupada mentioned about Rupa Goswami immediately recognized him as as Krishna. So just imagine Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's in a solitary place. He just came home, or he went to visit a home of a Brahmana, and he invited him for a meal. So then suddenly Rupa Goswami and Sri Vallabha Anupama, they arrived to meet him. And then from a distance, they put straws in their mouth. And they fell down, it's described like rods. And And then Lord Chaitanya, they said, please accept our most humble obeisances. And then both the brothers, they stood up and they fell down repeatedly. They were overwhelmed with ecstasy, and they started to recite Sanskrit verses. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased with Rupa Goswami. And he said, Rupa, please stand up. Come here. So then Rupa Goswami and Vallabha, they approached Lord Chaitanya. And so Lord Chaitanya, he said, it's impossible to describe Krishna's mercy. He has delivered both of you from the well of material enjoyment. And as Krishna says himself in the scriptures, even highly learned scholars of Sanskrit Vedic literature is not accepted as my devotee unless he is pure in devotional service. On the other hand, even someone born in the family of a dog eaters are very dear to me if he is a pure devotee. He is free from motives, the fruit of activities, and mental speculation. And such devotees should be given all respect, and whatever they offer should be accepted, for they are as worshipable as I am. Wow. So Lord Chaitanya recited this verse, and then he embraced these two brothers. And out of his causeless mercy, he actually placed his feet on their heads. This is amazing. So then Rupa Goswami and Sri Vallabha, they folded their hands with great humility. And they said, O munificent incarnation, you're none other than Krishna himself, appearing as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have assumed the golden complexion of Srimati Radharani and are distributing pure love of Krishna far and wide. We offer our obeisances unto you. We offer our obeisances to the merciful Supreme Lord, who has delivered the three worlds maddened by ignorance from their diseased condition by intoxicating them with the nectar of love of God. Let us take full shelter of that wonderful personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. So then Lord Chaitanya sits them by his side, and then they discuss other things. He asks about Sanatana Goswami, and Rupa Goswami said, oh, he's been arrested by the government of Hussain Shah. And then he said, can you kindly intervene and free him from his entanglement? And Lord Chaitanya said, Sanatan has already been released. He will meet with you very soon. So this is the verse that's described here. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurtashe Namaha. O most munificent incarnation, you are Krishna himself, appearing as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have assumed the golden color of Srimati Radharani, and you are widely distributing pure love of Krishna. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you. But there's another verse, the next verse is nice also. And this is the verse. Yogyanamatam bhuvanam dayalur ulagayanapi akarot pramatam swaprema sampat sudaya bhuteham Sri Krishna Chaitanya mamum prapaje. We offer our respectful obeisances unto that merciful Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has converted all the three worlds which were maddened by ignorance, and saved them from the diseased condition by making them mad with the nectar from the treasure house of love of God. Let us take full shelter of that Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, whose activities are wonderful. That's actually a verse from the Govinda Lilamrita. So this is nice how, this whole chapter from the Chaitanya Charitamrita is when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is meeting Rupa Goswami at Prayag. And it focuses on the prayers and devotion of Rupa Goswami, as well as the instructions on devotional service given to him by Lord Chaitanya. So this is all nicely described there. So here, another section where Rupa Goswami, this is another incident. So this is when Rupa Goswami and Sarup Damodar, they were discussing the events that took place at the Rath Yatra festival. And then Rupa Goswami, he's saying, during the Rath Yatra ceremony, I had the opportunity to see Lord Jagannath, and I also witnessed Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dancing and chanting ecstatically in front of the Rath. And then Sarup Damodar says, yeah, it was a really beautiful sight to behold. And then Rupa Goswami says, while the Lord was dancing, I heard him recite a particular verse that inspired me to compose another verse on the same subject matter. And then Swarupa Damodar says, oh, that's interesting. I remember that no one could understand why Lord Chaitanya was reciting that specific verse. And then Rupa Goswami says, true, but I believe I was able to grasp his intention behind reciting it. And then Swarupa Damodar says, really? That's impressive. Usually only I can understand the purpose behind the verses he recites during his ecstatic dancing. So you want to see the verse he chanted, Lord Chaitanya chanted? This is it here. Priya soyam Krishna sahachari karu kshetra militas tataham sarada taritam ubayo sangama sukham tatapyanta kilan madhurya murali pachamajuse manome kalindi pulinavi pinaya sprihayati. Sorry. My dear friend, now I've met my very old and dear friend Krishna on this field of Kurukshetra. I am the same Radharani, and now we are meeting together. It is very pleasant, but I would like to go to the bank of the Jamuna beneath the trees of the forest there. I wish to hear the vibrations of a sweet flute playing the fifth note within that forest of Vrindavan. So this is, I think, but this might be the verse Rupa Goswami wrote in response to his verse. I think I got it mixed up, but I don't know if anybody can confirm that. But anyway, here's the verse where Rupa Goswami to Swarupa Damodar, he's speaking, he says, well, after composing my verse, I wrote it down on the palm leaf and I tucked it away in the thatched roof of my hut before going to bathe in the sea. And then Swarupa Damodar says, what happened next? And then Rupa Goswami said, when I returned from my bath, I found Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in my hut. And he had discovered the palm leaf with my verse written on it. Swarupa Damodar said, oh, I see. So then Rupa Goswami says, as soon as I saw the Lord, I fell flat on the ground to offer my obeisances. He then slapped me mildly, a sign of his affection, and embraced me tightly. And then Swarupa Damodar says, he must have been pleased with your composition. And then Rupa Goswami said, yeah, he was, in fact. He asked me, my heart is very confidential. How did you know my mind in this way? And then Swarupa Damodar says, Lord Chaitanya then showed me the verse you had written and asked me how you could have understood his heart. So Lord Chaitanya showed it to Swarupa Damodar. So what did you tell him? Rupa Goswami asked him. So then Swarupa Damodar says, I told him that it was clear he had bestowed his causeless mercy upon you. No one could have understood his intention otherwise. And then Rupa says, and what did he say after that? And then Swarupa Damodar says, he confirmed that he had indeed bestowed his mercy upon you when you met him at Prayag, recognizing you as a suitable recipient. He also mentioned that he had granted you his transcendental potency. And then Rupa Goswami says, yeah, I'm truly grateful for his mercy and blessings. And then Swarupa Damodar says, as am I, Rupa. The Lord then instructed me to give you further guidance, particularly in the matter of transcendental mallows. And then Rupa Goswami says, I'm eager to learn from you, Swarupa Damodar. So then it goes on. So it was his pleasure to teach him. So this is from the latter pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Madhya Lila and the Antya Lila. So it's nicely described there. So here's the verse. Oops, sorry. Let's go back. I messed it up. So here's the verse here. Let's see if we have it here. Yeah, Priyo soyam Krishna saha chari charu kshetra militas tata ham sarada tamidam ubayo sagama sukham tatapi antak kilam madura mulali panchamajuse mano me kalini pulini vipanaya spriyayati. My dear friend, now I've met my very old and dear friend Krishna on this field of Kurukshetra. Yeah, I got it mixed up, the other one. I am the same Radharani, and now we are meeting together. It is very pleasant, but I would still like to go to the bank of the Jamuna, beneath the trees of the forest there. I wish to hear the vibrations of a sweet flute playing the fifth note within the forest of Vrindavan. So this is the verse composed by Rupa Goswami. It's also in his Pajavali. his anthology of verses. So that's right, I got that right. So that's the verse he was describing Lord Chaitanya's verse that Rupa Goswami composed after. Yeah, I mixed up. I read the wrong one. I put the wrong one in there. Yeah, that's what I was, sorry. The one that I chose for Lord Chaitanya that he chanted is different, and I grabbed the wrong one when I put it there, sorry. I probably have it there, I could show you. But let's just move on because we're going, it was about, his lover, Lord Chaitanya was talking about, and it was like almost like a cinema song almost, he's talking about meeting somebody and stuff, So anyway, in the translation, after Swarup Damodar was talking, he said, as soon as I saw the unique composition of your verse, I could immediately understand that you had bestowed upon you special mercy. So then it goes on describing in the next verse, he was using logic. He said, by seeing a result, one can understand the cause of that result. That's from the doctrine of Nyaya, or logic. And this is what he said after that. He said, the river Ganges flowing in the heavenly planets is full of golden lotus flowers. And we, the residents of those planets, eat the stems of the flowers. Thus we are very beautiful, more so than the inhabitants of any other planets. This is due to the law of cause and effect. For if one eats food in the mode of goodness, the mode of goodness increases the beauty of his body. So this is interesting how we're talking about the principles in Kali Yuga and how Lord Chaitanya comes. So then Prabhupada in the purport here describes this verse very amazingly. So he goes on to describe that it criticizes this current state of leadership in society, particularly the government, where the leaders indulge in sinful activities like drinking liquor, eating meat. And what it does is it pollutes their mentality and it leads to a degraded state of ignorance. And so the purport, Prabhupada is emphasizing the importance of selecting leaders who consume Krishna prasadam to ensure happy and the tranquil political situation. Because these leaders who engage in unclean habits, they exploit the citizens through taxation and they fail to benefit the state. This is also described in the 5th canto with the Forest of Material Enjoyment of one of the examples he uses, the material world, that the meat-eating demons is represented as the government officials. So this is unfortunately our present moment. And actually it describes in the 12th canto also, these barbarians in the guise of kings will devour the citizenry, murdering innocent women, children, cows, and brāhmaṇas, and coveting the wives and property of other men. They will be erratic in their moods, have little strength of character, and be very short-lived. Indeed, not purified by any Vedic rituals, and lacking in practice of regulated principles, they will be completely covered by the modes of passion and ignorance. So that's heavy. So in response, the actual purport expanded on the idea that our bodily luster, our beauty, our constitutional activities and qualities are all dependent on the law of cause and effect. So consuming food in the mode of goodness, such as Krishna prasadam, which is actually transcendental, it can lead to the development of Krishna prasadam and Krishna consciousness, and ultimately pure love and devotion to Krishna. So that's what the Prabhupada describes in the purport there. So if we do this, if we adhere to the mode of goodness, we'll certainly develop our dormant Krishna consciousness and become pure devotees of Krishna. So this is after reading that verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went into an ecstatic mood, right? And there's an interesting point here I'd like to make. When they fell down like a rod, they offered these obeisances. And Prabhupada is describing in the Madhya 171, having shown the verse to Swarup Damodar with great wonder, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him how Rupa Goswami could understand the intentions of his mind. And this is what Prabhupada says in that purport. He said, we had the opportunity to receive a similar blessing from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami when we presented an essay at his birthday ceremony. He was so pleased with that essay that he used to call some of his confidential devotees and show it to them. how could we have understood the intentions of Srila Prabhupada? So this is a beautiful described there. So you know that verse that we see in his poem that he wrote, absolute is sentient, thou hast proved, in personal calamity thou hast moved. That's just one part of it. So we see Srila Prabhupada has similarly been blessed by the Lord in his most confidential mission. So this is the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All his associates have blessed Srila Prabhupada because he pleased his spiritual master. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. So we see Prabhupada actually always attributed his success in spreading Lord Chaitanya's mission to the blessings and satisfaction of his guru. So we can see the examples here taught. So that's Srila Prabhupada. He understood the mind of his spiritual master, just like Rupa Goswami understood the mind of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Absolute is sentient, thou hast proved, in personal calamity thou hast moved. Jai. So thank you for your kind attention. Any comments, questions? Jai. All right, thank you. All glories to Srimad Bhagavatam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.